Uh-oh, I'm terrified. What's going on, guys? It seems as though I was alerted to by a DM that there is a update. This is a developer update and it says regular balance, something that I absolutely hate. But I'm very curious on what it actually entails. So apparently it's supposed to be like a balance update, so they're just changing a few heroes. So it's kind of early, as it says it right here. Greetings, Elune. I hope you guys can see it. I got it pumped up and magnified. It's been 2 weeks since Elune launched in a global server. Elune was able to improve within a short period of time thanks to players' love for Elune. We want to thank all players who are loving Elune. We will try our best to make it even more enjoyable. Be careful with that shit, because that's usually how you make mistakes as many as you can make success. So let's hope for it is good. Today we want to discuss first regular balance patch regarding Elune balance and skill. We are planning on bringing this balance patch along with an update next week after reviewing players' feedback. So interesting, at least they're not throwing this into the game immediately. They're gonna look for our feedback, and I guess you could say that this is mine because I'm always very critical on balancing. Like, I actually feel like it's already a little bit too early to be balancing because a lot of people bitch about a lot of things and a lot of people think everything is broken. So first up, it looks like we're gonna have Baldia, and they say the purpose, which is nice. Epic 7 did this as well. We conducted that he is not fully performing as a legendary single target DPS. Yeah, most people are using his S2 just to farm better. I don't even see, like, when you find a Baldia, you mostly see him actually just like with a highly maxed S2 to farm stuff a little bit better. But I guess they didn't like that. Physical damage to a single enemy plus increased damage based on the number of blades on enemy, plus instantly use this skill on a random enemy when defeating, so it bounces. So he'll like keep nuking other targets, which makes him really good with Reve, which is pretty cool. And it only can activate once, so you can't like chain kill everybody. But it's nice that it does damage based on the blazes, so if your S1 has been landing consistently on different targets, at least the snipe will do really good. And of course you get the double free uses, which is technically 2 S3s for the price of 1, depending on if it gets a kill. Obviously not going to be really that useful in any of the gear boss battles, but he's currently not really talked about in the gear boss battle, so I guess that's why they didn't care about it. This is definitely a PvP change. Next they're going to be changing is his passive 2, his P2. Reduce damage received from enemies afflicted with blaze. I think that was fine, but they're going to also change it to reduce damage received from enemies afflicted with blaze plus place blaze status on the attacker when hit. Very important to note here is that they say it just gets placed. It's not like a chance for it to happen. There are a couple of passives that it has a chance. So if they're saying that this automatically is going to happen, that's going to be awesome. The reason why that's awesome is that you can even like play around with maybe even putting them on the front line, or when characters actually AoE hit, they're going to get blazes, and then it's going to make his S3 a lot better with that change as well. So this is seeming like some really cool stuff. Then his P3 is also getting changed here. Increased crit rate by 20% against enemies afflicted by blaze. So after everyone has all the fire blaze on them, he's going to have a nice crit rate increase on them. When an attack lands as a crit on an enemy afflicted with blaze, sets off flames to deal additional soul damage and removes blaze from the enemy. Now, oh yeah, that's the before. I hope they take that out because I didn't notice that. If they do that now, that's actually going to screw the whole thing up. So hopefully they change that. Increases the crit rate when that one blade lands as a crit, and then sets off flames for additional does not. Yeah, I actually was noticing this and I was like, wait, where's my debuff? I want my debuff on the character. I didn't know that he had that, and it's actually terrible because if you like, you'll see that you're actually able to stack the blazes and it's soul damage. So now you can actually maybe even bring him into the Azbatakatak, into the mummy. That'd be interesting if you can bring him into the mummy fight. I'll be very interested to test that out because the whole getting rid of the blaze is terrible, and specifically with the changes that they made so far, it would be super terrible because you want to keep blaze on everyone pretty much and just keep it on forever. So far this seems like it is a nice change. It doesn't seem like it's going to make him overpowered outside of the passive 2 about everyone pretty much getting blaze, and then if this S3 starts nuking and double nuking characters all day, he might seem like it's a little bit too much for people to handle, but he's already kind of irrelevant. So I think that this is a nice way to make us Baldia users feel a little bit better about our lovely investment into the character. So I'm really hyped to see this. This is good so far. Next up, McCarthy. Now, I feel like most people don't like him just because they don't like the way he looks. I actually think he's okay. He's a heal blocker, and there's definitely a lot of healing in the PvP meta, so I'm not even thinking that this is a bad thing. Also, if you want to stop healing from like the Trent, if you're not going for the CC strat, not that bad. But let's see what they changed about him anyway. So the fiery, his special, which is his S2. Physical damage to all enemies, 50% chance to stun against enemies afflicted by effect that reduces healing, which is from him. I think he's like one of the only characters that even does that. So now they're going to be chasing it to place increased damage received and reduce damage dealt on enemies with a weaken effect that can stack up to twice. So that's dramatically better. That is super better. It seems as though you won't be able to stun, which, if I'm being honest, they don't need too many other stunners. There's a lot of other characters that stun. And if he's supposed to be debuffing, you kind of want him to maybe do something different. Obviously, stun is a debuff, but increasing damage brings in like the brand effect, which is in most gacha games where it makes killing things a little bit quicker. And reduced damage dealt also is lowering their damage. It's like an attack break. So that's actually really, really, really good. If he would have actually had that from the beginning, I think I would have kept my reroll. Next up is his ultimate. Physical damage to all, reduces both their defenses of enemies afflicted with the heal reduction again. So now it is being changed to physical damage to all and then the stun. So they've moved his stun to his S3. Now it just says stun, and we don't know how many turns it's gonna stun. No idea how that's going to be working. So lastly, his passive 3 is going to be changed. After receiving a killing blow, McCarthy will be revived with 1 HP and will be immune to damage and status effects for 2 turns that are taken consecutively before finally dying. Plus, reduce soul consumption by 2 during the consecutive turns. Yeah, that's actually really nice. When he's actually in that mode, he can actually utilize his S3 and S2, possibly getting off a last farewell stun to say, screw you guys, I'm out, which is really good. Or using the S2 to lower the damage and increasing the damage, or then even S2ing into S3 because it's so much cheaper for him to do so. Really, really good change. Again, not making him busted. I think he's going to be well respected as a legendary, instead of him being like pretty much glossed over. You really don't see this character at all. But this should bring him in line with the other legendaries in the game. Next up is Catherine. She is an epic, so it looks like an epic is actually getting a little tone here. I don't know if it's a buff or a nerf. Let's see. We wanted to improve her performance as an enemy buff stealer that we initially designed her to be. So special is the S2. It's going to be changed to magic damage to enemy plus steal soul or rage 1 and max 2 at max. Double with crit. So she steals souls. I'm assuming that's only relevant in PvP, unless like the enemy, like the boss battles use souls. I'm not exactly sure about that, but that's pretty cool. I guess it's allowing her S2 to steal be more effective. That's cool. Her ultimate is going to be changed to magic damage to all enemies, stealing even more buffs, 2 at max level, and additional damage based on the number of buffs stolen. So once it's max level, it's going to do more damage. It's also AoE. Stealing buffs AoE sounds nuts. I didn't even know she can do that. They're just giving her like a little overall damage boost. So that's pretty cool. Didn't know that she did that. I've seen a couple of Catherines, but didn't really know that that was what she was really about. Then they're changing her passive also to steal 1 random buff upon landing an attack, which is really good. Her passive 3 is also getting changed to inflict a despair on an enemy for 2 turns who had 2 or more buffs stolen. They're changing it down. I guess it looks like they're changing it down for the fact of all the other abilities being so strong. They wanted to make sure that her passive 3 wasn't still left in a crazy state. Interesting, interesting. WEI WEI also coming up to the lovely chopping block. I was like, oh no! So we see here is that we tried to resolve excessively monotonous and fast battles due to excessive soul supply. So while WEI WEI is alive, gains 3 souls immediately if there is less than 2 upon receiving a turn. So if her turn comes up, you have less than 3 souls, she will give you 2. No, sorry. If you have less than 2 souls, she'll give you 3. So pretty much the reason why this was done is so WEI WEI can always pretty much S2 or an S3 if it was up. It didn't matter if you had more than that, you didn't have to worry. If you had less, then she would use her passive. So now it is getting changed that it is 2 for 2. You won't always be able to get a 4 soul move off of her, which is her S2 and S3. So it might give you some, but you might not get it all. And then obviously depending on the rotation of the soul recharge, it might not mean anything. So it's a nice change. Didn't nerf her too much, which I was really scared. When I see nerfs and buffs, it's like you always get a fearful of characters that are really good. She's like one of their flagship characters. I feel like she's really, really important to the marketing of the game. You know, that's why you're doing the NPC quest for most of us. You know, getting her and then getting the dupes of her. And for them to, if they would have nerfed her severely, it would have been really annoying. Because they have to be really careful with these nerfs. Because right now, this is not Epic 7. If you guys know Epic 7, when they nerf characters, they give you compensation for it. Next up, they're changing some of the gear sets. So the gear that, as you can see, the 3-piece generates a barrier equal to 10% of the max HP at the beginning of every odd number turn. Before it was even. Now they switch it to every odd number turn. I don't know what the difference of that is. Oh, actually, no, that's actually a buff. Sorry, because obviously the positive is that odd numbers are like turn 1. So I think that that's what's good. So at least it works on turn 1. That's good. And evasion rate at the end of every odd number turn as well. So that's pretty good. Turn 1, 3, 5. You know, that's what that's supposed to be. So this is really good for your tanky characters. They're going to get a HP, and then they're also going to be getting some evasion rate. But you have to be careful, guys. I actually tested this out. Not that I tested it out, but I have the tank that evades, right? If your character has a passive that revolves around getting hit, they need to get hit. And even though the passive might say when they are attacked, it only counts if they are hit. So be careful with giving who you give evasion to. Because if you give evasion to characters that need to actually be hit, the evasion will screw that up. I just thought I'd bring that up. Keep it going forward. We have the Corrupt Elune set, which is about gaining souls. And as we can see this, they also did the same thing here, just that they switched it up. That now you're going to obtain souls every even number of turns. And same thing with the attack boost at the beginning of your even turns as well. So the reason why they're changing that is just to manipulate turn order. You're going to have to be more aware of pretty much who's going at what turn. But wait, there's more. Seems that they also came out with an update preview. Luckily I caught this before finishing the other one. So we're going to tack this on. So they're looking like they're going to be adding in a Dimensional Guardian content sub-quest system. That sounds interesting. Then they're also, you can see this mission in the dimension in the adventure map. You can earn various worlds when you complete these missions. The Alliance boss will renew after that update. And then they'll have more details on the Alliance boss, world boss, pretty much all the other stuff. Select Summon Season 2 will be announced on a later date once closer. That seems, this is something that I wanted some other gachas to do. Pretty much like reopen the Select Summon after, like, for some of these games, even at least their 1-year anniversary. Like, you know, let you do it again. But if they're going to be doing it like every few months, that'd be interesting. It will really probably lower their money, like how much money they're making, because then people won't like need to whale immediately. But you know, I'm interested to see this. It could just mean that they're gonna open up another package, because you can currently buy a second Select Summon, which in my opinion is fair. Annoying, as I hate all packages, but if you're gonna pay $30 and get to select a hero, I prefer someone to do that than to spend $1,000 and get absolutely nothing. So yeah, all down with that. There are a bunch of improvements here. I'm just going to point out the ones that I specifically like. Let me just kind of scroll on down so you guys can see it. You can pause it, or you can obviously just go on their website and poke out, not poke out, you guys can figure out. You guys can look at these for yourselves, but there's a couple that I'm just going to bring up myself. I'm going to scroll back up, and I'm going to point out ones that I specifically like, that I think is really awesome that they're fixing or changed or something of that nature. First feature, added a feature in Elune details where you can remove Elunes in bulk from teams. This is especially good for me because of the way that I currently fuse in the game. I put fodder in my teams, and I also put them in training to make sure that I'm doing. Added an entry in the lab where you could train Elune seeds for skill gems. This is interesting because now, thank you our other god, Tectone, for blowing up the skill gems. Not that he really blew it up, but at the same time, what he did is just kind of like pointed out how silly some of the set bonuses are. Doing this is going to be really great for the skill gems because, one, some of the harder ones are harder to get. They're in areas that are a little bit harder in the beginning of the game for you to get. Also, what this is going to be good for is the fact that you actually can fuse. I don't know if people know that, is that you could fuse the skill gems. You can take I think it's 10, you take 10 of one, and then you upgrade it to the top, another level. So pretty much you could take a whole bunch of ones, make a bunch of twos, make a bunch of threes, make a bunch of fours into the 5 over and over and over again. And you're going to have a lot of Elune seeds because you get 1 billion of them. Another one, In Elune details, gear drop-down button has been added for easier gear filtering by type. This has been a little bit annoying for, trying to like figure out which goes where, and just trying to make a set is just a little bit annoying currently in the game, so I appreciate it. This one is a life send. Added ability to craft multiple skill builds at once in the lab. Oh god, I just did this and it took so long because you have to literally tap every single one. Now you can just do it. If you guys do not know, I was gonna actually do a video on it, but I felt like it was just not that long of a video. It was gonna be like too short, and I figured I could stick it in somewhere else instead. But what's really good about this change is that this is going to allow you to take your uncommons, make them all up, then take your uncommon books, then I think you need 5 of them, and then you could make the next rarity up, and then you keep doing that. Pretty much I stop at epics, but I'll never like take 5 epic books and make them into legendary. Or only way I'll do that is if there's no more epics that I feel like building at the moment, but that's going to be very rare that that's going to happen. But you can take your uncommon, common, and I think that's all, the uncommon and commons, and you can take your uncommon, common, and rare books, keep taking all the little pages, make as many books, and then you're going to end up with a lot of epic books by doing that, and this is just going to make the process a little bit easier. And those are the only changes that I really liked. Everything else is just like a bunch of fixes. Some of these issues that I see here I never even like came across while I was playing the game, so I really can't talk too much about them, but it's nice that they're on top of things. Sometimes it's really nice to showcase this stuff to your players just so it looks like you were hard at work, even though it's like issues that they made and they have to fix them anyway. But it's good to let people know that do run into stuff like cause the battle to stop in the pirate dungeon due to the monsters not spawning, that they're working on fixing that stuff. So I appreciate it, and I'm sure you do too. And let me know what changes you guys are most looking forward to, whether it be the skills or the buffs of the characters or some of this stuff in here. I'm all ears, and I'm looking forward to everything that this game has to offer. As I said, I'm definitely addicted. I'm stuck in this game. I just released Chloe's guide, and now I'm doing an update video, which I hate doing for pretty much every other game that I cover. But I'm so excited to see the direction of this game, and I hope you guys are too. And remember, every day at the Kashino is your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.